Would India be better off today if Britain still ruled? No, I don't think so. The British, they came as traders. They came with their own self-interest. They slowly became rulers and administrators as the needs came. So until 1813, the British was following a policy of non-interference in the social and cultural life of the Indians. But in 1813, the Charter Act directed the company to spend money on education. But there was a great controversy about how that education should come about. In 1844, English became the official language, and it was the preferred, if you had English, then you were preferred for public employment. And the reason for that was because the British needed English-speaking Indians to be clerks in their bureaucracy because it was getting bigger and bigger. And what happened was the schools that educated the rural society that had been open to everybody, they just fell by the way, and the education was more for the rich people who were trying to get ahead, and it was more to help the British in their growing empire. So Western education had an interesting effect because it was supposed to reconcile the people of India to British rule, but it brought in ideas of freedom and liberty and equality and democracy, and it also enabled people who had never been able to speak together, they could speak together in English. So that was very interesting. The British administrators, they needed more and more expansion of their interests. And so they built these wonderful steamships and transportations and railroads, and they got a telegraph system and a postal system that went across the nation. And all of those were good for India. They're good for the people in different ways. But it was for the self-interest of the British administrators. They wanted to be able to move raw goods faster. They wanted to be able to move up and make more efficient the system that was there, and they wanted a military that could be mobilized and could communicate and talk to each other, and so that they could bring law and order in the way that they felt it should be administered. And the biggest thing that I think was wrong was the drain of wealth. Britain needed lots of raw goods, especially with the Industrial Revolution going on. And so they needed cotton and the silk, and they needed all of the stuff to make things. And so they taxed heavily goods coming in from India, but they exempted themselves from any kind of taxes coming into India. And so India was just flooded with all of these cheap English textiles, and they could not export them to England, and so there was just a collapse in their system. And so no, I don't think that that if Britain were still ruling India, that it would be just for Britain's self-interest. It wouldn't be for India, because they never came to make India better. It was just to make Britain better. So my answer is no.